Hello and welcome back to the We Are Birmingham Blue preview. This week's show we're previewing Birmingham City versus Wycombe Wanderers on Tuesday night. Joining me this week is Rory Wilson from the Business End podcast, Wycombe Wanderers fan. Rory, thanks for joining us, mate. And how you doing on this transfer deadline day today?
I'm great, mate. Yeah, it's we'll see what happens today. I'm not expecting much, if I'm honest, but no, it's great to be on.
Yeah, no, thanks for joining us, mate. I suppose we'll start on that actually. About Wycombe and Blues' transfer dealings. Obviously, both of us down near the bottom of the table, and to be honest, not too different really in form and performances this season. Just talk us through some of the business that Wycombe have done in that January transfer window. I know you've brought in Jordan Abita and Josh Knight on loan, so just talk us through that and how you think those guys could impact the rest of your season.
Yeah, so we had an issue at the start of the season. We only had one left back, and we thought at any point if he gets injured, he's 35 as well, I think, and we were thinking he could get injured at any stage, and he got injured just before in the Tottenham game, so right at the start of January.
Yeah.
We haven't had a league game since, and I think we all kind of felt that it could be an issue if he was still out, and we got in a beater, obviously, who's a championship proven player,
Mm-hmm.
which is not much. We haven't got many of those, if we're honest. Yeah, we bought in Josh Knight was already here. We extended his loan, and also got in a guy called Admiral Musquet, who got his debut goal against Brentford at the weekend.
Yeah.
And that was his first, I believe, his first ever professional goal. So
Right.
he was at Swindon last year in League Two. So when you're Wycombe, you've got to get these little hidden gems in the lower leagues,
Yeah.
and the loanees, they're never going to be big names. So we have to find them, and I think we've done well at that in the last few years. We've always sort of relied on getting loans in,
Mm-hmm.
and this year will be no different, I'd imagine. If we do anything today, it will be a couple of loanees. We're linked to a guy called Namdi Offable, who we had last year, big part of our promotion season, and
Mm-hmm.
he's apparently just signed for Rangers, but we're going to get him for the rest of the year on loan. So
Okay.
that would be a good one. But yeah, I don't think apart from that, I don't think we'll be getting anyone else. But that would be a good signing if we can pull it off.
No, that's fair enough, and like you said about the championship experience, I think that's vital for teams that are fighting down the bottom. Coming into those important games towards the end of the season and having a bit of experience in those situations. From a Blues point of view, before today, we've brought in Sam Cosgrove from Aberdeen, confirmed yesterday from the time I'm recording now, and Raheem Harper on loan from West Bromwich Albion, and two areas which we definitely needed to strengthen in. And I think today we've been linked with. Nesbitt up at Hibernian, a striker, again from the SPL, and Jan Valery as well from Southampton on loan. So we're sort of going for that, not rather than experience, we're going for a bit of, proven track record in Jan Valery, tends to play in the Premier League. And then with Nesbitt, his goal scoring record up in Scotland is quite decent. So we're hoping to maybe buy him and hopefully have find a bit of a gem up in Scotland. But yeah, I mean, you did mention the new signing for you scoring against Brentford, and I suppose we'll just dive into that if you don't mind. So obviously the scoreline, not great from your guys' point of view, 7-2, but I think I watched the highlights from that game, and particularly first half. I think it's fair to say that Wycombe were well and truly in that game. And from what I saw, could have easily been ahead in the first half, particularly. So just walk us through what happened on Saturday, particularly in that second half.
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of players missing at the back. We had half of our defence obliterated. So it was always going to be an open game. The way we played, I think we wanted it to be high scoring because we were never going to keep a clean sheet or anything.
Yeah.
And we started it awfully at the back. They got an early goal, but both times we got back in like the next 2-3 minutes, we equalised in the first half. We got our first and second straight after theirs. Um, and yeah, it was a very close game. They had chances. We could have scored five if we're honest. We missed a couple of really good chances. We hit the post. And then second half, if we're honest, I think we tired. We hadn't played a league game for 4 weeks. We had a lot of people out, I think, with COVID. And we struggled in the second half to get any control of it. There was an awful refereeing decision in there, which I know our manager was fuming about. But look, that happens. So, but yeah, conceding seven was, I think, a little bit unfair. They did run through us in the second half, but
Yeah.
to be honest, when you've got someone like Ivan Toney, he got a hat trick. You're gonna score goals. So it was, I think, a little bit unfair, but we defended awfully, and you're gonna get that sometimes in the Championship. You're against good teams, so yeah, the scoreline maybe was unfair, but I thought the result was probably right.
Yeah, spot on, mate. And I think obviously Championship refereeing. I don't know how you guys have felt this season being in the Championship and the standard. You're shaking your head already. I totally with you. I think some of the decisions we've had against us this season have been absolutely criminal. And I saw the one that you're referring to, that penalty. I think for the fourth goal for Brentford, which
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
took them just out of sight for you. And in my opinion, again, never a penalty. So I totally understand that. And then from where you are currently, in the table, obviously bottom of the league. But again, some encouraging signs against Brentford particularly in that first half. Where do you think the second half of the season is going to go for Wycombe? Do you think that maybe potentially you could put a run of form together and climb the table?
Well, hopefully it's better than the first half. No, look, we started the season. We lost our first 6 games, 7 games. We lost all of them. So we were all on the back foot already.
Yeah,
And we picked it up. We started to compete a lot more. And that Brentford game was the first time we'd lost by more than 1 goal since the first 7 games. So obviously that was going to be difficult. But I think second half of the season, if we can get in off a ball today, we've got a much better squad. We had a lot of players at the start of the season, especially who were really League Two, League One level.
yeah,
I think with this window we've had, I'm hoping we can. I know Ainsworth wants 35 points for the second half of the season. He thinks that'll keep us up, but I think as long as I just don't want to embarrass ourselves and finish on like a record low. I
yeah.
think we realistically we probably will go down, but I want us to compete at least. And if we can, yeah, at least do better than the first half of the season, I think you'd probably take that. But yeah, it's going to be very difficult, but I do think we'll be doing a bit better than at the start, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I think we'll touch on the game that when we played you guys last time. I think if you beat us tomorrow night, so Tuesday at the time of recording, then I think you'll do your first double this season over a side, and it would be typical Blues for us to be that team that you do it against. But definitely in the first game, definitely showed signs that you can compete at this level. And again, like we talked about Brentford and then other recent performances. Is it, where you are on the table now, is that where you would have said, do you know what, we're going to be in around the bottom and fighting for our lives throughout the whole of the season coming up? Because I know you had the lowest budget in the league. A lot of League One squads stayed around. So is this really whereabouts you thought you'd be at this stage of the season?
Yeah, I mean, with our manager, we never really knew. We thought we might go on a bit of especially when we beat Birmingham. We done back-to-back wins, and we thought we could go on.
Yeah.
We then didn't win a game for like 12 games, so didn't quite happen like that. But I think if we're being realistic, we thought we'd be bottom three for pretty much the whole season. I don't think anyone expected anything more than that, really. But I mean, we've got, I think, apparently the lowest ever budget in the Championship. So,
Yeah.
it was never going to be easy. The players we've got in are good players, but, they're good League One players more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't think, I think we all thought we'd be about where we are now, definitely.
That's fair enough, and I think maybe some fans would have said that it was an unbelievable achievement to even get out of League One last season. I think you guys had a pretty low budget relative to League One, so to even considering and talking about competing in the Championship is a testament to Wycombe, really. I suppose we sort of touched on those new signings, but is there any players that Blues fans should really look out for at the weekend? I think your striker, is it Ikpeazu, scored in the week, and again from the highlights that I saw, he looked quite handy. So is there any players that you'd say to watch out for tomorrow night?
Definitely him, yeah. He scored twice in the last 2 league games with 2 absolute belters. He's unbelievable. He's one of those. I mean, obviously Akin Fenwa played against you last time, and was a handful. But this guy, he's like Akin Fenwa, just mobile and can run. And honestly, he is. I think he'll be playing in the Premier League at some point. He
Really?
is so good. He came down from Scotland. I think it was the Hearts fans were sort of saying how he wasn't very good and things like that. But he's come in, and I haven't seen a player like him at Wycombe before. He's just so good. The ball just sticks to him. He's unbelievable. But of course, we've got people like Curtis Thompson, our midfielder, who's been with us. He was released by Notts County in League Two. Obviously, they went down, and we picked him up on loan for the rest of the season and then signed him. And yeah, I mean, considering he was not wanted by a League Two team, to be ripping it up in the Championship like he is very impressive. And then I don't think he'll be playing, but obviously Joe Jacobson, our left back, set piece king. So if he is playing, he loves it. He loves to score from a corner. So we'll see if that happens. But no, look, we have got some good players. But yeah, I think Ikpeazu is definitely the number one at the moment.
Yeah, and interesting what you say about him, actually. I think Aberdeen fans are saying similar about Sam Crosgrove, who we've just secured the signing of. And I think Scotland and the Championship are two completely different leagues, and certain characteristics work well in one and certain in the other. And I'm sure that's what you found with Ikpeazu, actually. And again, like I said, I saw him on the highlights on Saturday, and he definitely looked a handful. So that is one that I'm sure Blues fans will be watching out for. And particularly with our recent defensive performances, not so much against Coventry, we looked slightly better, but in recent games, someone who's mobile and has good movement off the ball can cause us problems. So that's one to definitely watch out for. On Blues then, what are your opinions looking outside into Blues? I think a lot of people looking into Blues, they just see the managerial changes and the constant changes within the playing squad as well. Is that something that Wycombe fans have seen? And on the pitch as well, what sort of things have you sort of observed from the outside looking in?
Yeah, when I did my predictions at the start of the season, I thought with Karanka coming in, I thought they'd have a really good season. I think I put them top half anyway.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? And I think after you started the season quite well as well, I thought, yeah, they're gonna maybe even make a playoff push. But I think, yeah, looking in, it's a strange one because I mean you've got some very good players and people like Jukovic and San Jose, I think it is, top players. And I think Jukovic has got 2 goals this season, something like that.
Yeah.
I think that's where the issue lies with Birmingham. Just no goals in the team at the moment. I think your top scorer's got 3, maybe.
Yeah.
I think, and that's a similar issue to us actually. Our top scorer's got 4. We haven't got anyone that's. Ikpeazu's only played like 3 games, so that'll probably change. But I think the issue is for both teams is goals at the moment. You're not going to win many games if you're scoring 1 or none or 1 most weeks. So
agreed.
I'd say that's probably the issue. But yeah, I mean, I'm not. Your form coming into it is pretty awful like ours. I know you got a win at Middlesbrough, which is a very good result. But yeah, looking in, it's a strange one because I thought you'd have a good season. But
no, yeah, agreed. But I think our form is actually identical to Wycombe's in terms of the last 5 games. I think we've both got 1 win, 1 draw, and the rest are defeats. And yeah, and Blues fans as well potentially had some optimism at the start of the season. Started okay, looked solid. But personally, I wasn't thinking playoffs. I was thinking maybe mid-table security and build on that. But unfortunately, that hasn't panned out that way, and we are, in that bottom half of the table, looking down rather than up this season. I suppose then, with the form of the two teams being very similar, if not the same, actually, what are your thoughts on a score prediction to finish off then? Because obviously 2-1 last time out. Those 2 late second half goals for you guys definitely secured the win against us. So do you think Wycombe could do double over Blues tomorrow?
If I'm honest, I'd love to think we can because I mean, if you win, I think you go 15 points clear of us or something. And I think most Wycombe fans are saying if we lose tomorrow, that's it, we're down. So I can't really predict a loss, but I think realistically, coming off of a 7-2, we're not going to be particularly. I think I'll go for 2-2, an interesting game.
Okay.
I know I've said both teams don't score many, but it'd be good to see some goals. 2-2, I think that's my prediction.
Fair enough, mate. I'm similar, but I'm going to go for a 2-1 Blues. I think potentially we might be able to look at that second half against Brentford and maybe put together some ideas and plans about how we can potentially score a couple ourselves. I think hopefully new signings coming in either today or the ones that have already come in Cosgrove and Harper can potentially give us that little bit extra. And I think Aitor Karanka will have learned a lot from the second half against Coventry, actually. And maybe adopt his approach a little bit to this game based on that second half against Coventry. So I want to go for a 2-1 Blues, but I could see us conceding, as I've said, we're going to concede at least 1 in my opinion, but the 2 goals for Wycombe, again, like the first game, wouldn't surprise me either. So I think that's a fair prediction from both of us there, mate. Thanks for joining us today, Rory. It's been a pleasure.
That's great, yeah.
And good luck tomorrow, mate. I'm sure the best team on the night will win. Let's hope it's Blues, but from your sake, let's hope that the best team does win in the end. So again, thanks for joining us, Rory. Appreciate you coming on, mate.
Nice one. Cheers. Nice one.
And that's it for this week's We Are Birmingham Blue preview. Again, if you haven't listened to this week's We Are Birmingham podcast, make sure to give that a listen. And until next time, keep right on.